Happy April 11th. We are checking in with your last month. The last time I did a check-in, it was on the heels of the spring revival. So it's been a time, okay? Still gonna play off of that energy today as we check in. How are you doing in 2025? Are you living it up? Do you feel like the first quarter you were being who you want to be? Do you feel like the first quarter aligns with creating a 2025 that knocks your socks off? This year is the year of truly living into being who we came here to be, fully living into the version of us that we're obsessed with being, and really allowing that energy to create a 2025 that blows our minds, right? So cheers to that. Cheers to April 11th. This is the fourth one I'm doing of this year. The check-ins are so good to check in with your goals. How are you doing? What are your intentions for this year? Do you feel in alignment with who you want to be? The woman who creates that effortlessly, who creates that and has the time of her life. Creating that should feel like light, interesting, fascinating. And these are all things that I wasn't really feeling after my last event. It was good. I had a good time. I love working with the women who were there. And so I don't want to be shady and be like, oh, this sucks. But going into it, I knew it wasn't 100% aligned. And so that's really the word. It wasn't 100% aligned with who I am, with what the actual F is going on here, with the mystery of life, which is my favorite part of life, right? What we can see of the universe is only 4% of what's actually there. That means that 96% of the universe is invisible to us. Our bodies, galaxies, stars, planets, sun, moon, that is just 4% of what's actually there. So it's tiny, right? Imagine driving a car that only has 4% of its parts working, or imagine taking an exam and only getting 4% of the answers correct. That is minuscule. And this leads me to understand that life is not about knowing everything and being 100% right about everything and pretending like we already know what's going on here. Life is for exploring and expanding and deepening into this mystery. And that's so liberating. And again, for me, that's the most fascinating part of life, right? So when it's time to pivot into doing what you want, this is the energy. Just remembering that we don't know everything there is to know. We're far from knowing what is going on here. When it's time to pivot, you feel it and you just pivot. This is spring energy for me. The spring brings about this clarity, this newness, this revival vibe that gives us an opportunity to check back in and be like, what? Self-concept and living into who you truly came here to be automatically raises your standards, and spring is such a good time to check in with who you're being and check in with your standards and make it over and become new all over again. That is the vibe of spring. Last year around this time was actually when I did another very memorable pivot. It was one of the big ones for me that really made me know that this is how it's done. Like, if you're doing something and you need to change your mind, you need to change direction, even if it upsets people, you got to do it. Last year I was in this shamanism program and it was just not letting me up. I was in the program for 6 months. I really enjoyed the leader, but something with the program just made it feel like a chore. Like, I couldn't wait for the sessions to be over when they started, and I just didn't fit in. It wasn't direct enough. It wasn't like me enough. It didn't align up with my values, right? So for me, even after probably like a couple months, I knew I didn't want to stay any longer. But having the courage to, number one, let the leader know that I was leaving, pay to leave the program that was already thousands of dollars, and just be able to really choose me. was big and it paid off. It was super rewarding. I had the time off already and was planning to go to Dominican Republic. I had already bought a plane ticket. I decided to make it non-refundable, which was not smart, but whatever. I lost all of that, and I didn't really lose though. I ended up going to visit my Bufo facilitator friend who lives in Belgium. Had an amazing time. I had literally the biggest breakthrough experience on Bufo alvarius, which is my psychedelic of choice, that I ever had. I had 2 previous Bufo alvarius experiences before that were nowhere near as clarifying and just mind-blowing as that experience. I'm still unpacking that experience, and I had another one right after that. But it felt like, in retrospect, if I'm really like honest and I zoom out, this was like, that's how it's done. Choosing the heart and soul, even when it feels like plans are already made, it doesn't matter. This life is not about just following a script. It's so not about that. The heart guides. And when you tap into what you're obsessed with and being the person you're obsessed to be, then you put yourself in this sort of alignment, right? With something that is higher, something that is more aligned with bliss. I had to peek at my notes just then. Something that is aligned with these higher sensations. And to me, psychedelics do that. Psychedelics allow us to expand our capacity to feel with these higher range emotions. And that way, lower hanging fruit no longer is going to satisfy. So just going with the flow, checking boxes, things that are okay, or even sometimes things that used to kind of numb you a little bit so you didn't care as much, they're not as good. It helps to kind of fine tune this instrument so that we can more fully live in alignment with who we really are. In my experience, right? Psychedelics have really helped me to expand my capacity to feel, which is amazing, because then automatically it raises your standards. It raises your standards from like junk food eating or just doing things that are, okay, this is good, this is cool, to doing the things that you're really lit up and meant to do. This is how we're meant to live. And it's so clear for me that that is literally what it's about. And when we can learn to live in alignment with who we really are, those nudges and those desires to pivot and change are more clear and they're more obvious. It doesn't take psychedelics. You don't have to do Bufo alvarius. I think it also just takes self-understanding and self-knowing. And the tattoo on my arm, knowing who you are and what it is that lights you up, and allowing that to be part of your exploration of this mysterious happening. Part of the exploration and research is into this instrument. Like, how good can it get? How well can the mind and the body and how we're being and expressing be so aligned to the highest levels? We don't know that. We don't know what wellness is, right? This channel and what I'm here to discover is what really is wellness. It's not just not being sick, right? It's not just not being like everyone else either. Being well is not about just being like everyone else or just exercising and eating healthy. We don't know what it is. We don't know what a lot of things are. And this is obvious by that 4% universe. It's actually a book. You can check it out if you are just as into mysteries as I am. That's huge. And I'm going to refer to that a lot as we move forward on this channel, because I got new wind in my sails after pivoting, because that's what it's about. Tuning in and then getting off course and tuning in again and getting a little bit off course, and you just kind of like get back into this space where you're just like locked in. So I'm like moving towards getting locked in and creating the thing that feels like, if I don't create this, then what am I doing? Why even bother? That is what it's all about. So I'm also going to be creating more room for this channel to cover this wellness exploration. And there was a time when I was afraid to Talk about this. There was a time when I didn't feel like I was smart enough, didn't feel like I had enough just gusto or boldness, balls to talk about something that is so big and so important and so huge. I was like, whoa, this is a lot. I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing, but that doesn't really matter when we can create a self-concept that is so aligned with our values and so aligned with what we are obsessed with. Leaving that out or forgetting how important it is to feel lit up on the inside is to disconnect ourselves from that which animates everything. It's like unplugging a lamp and then expecting it to turn on. It's not going to happen. You can't unplug from source energy and cut yourself off and just focus on materialism. That's what's going on in America right now. Just this bubbling up and this extreme materialism focus. Where's the soul? Where is the energetic appreciation for what's creating this? It's cut off. So instead of cutting off from that, we are creating self-concepts. We are getting back in touch with what we value. We are connecting ourselves back with what we are obsessed with. And this automatically, if you connect yourself with what you're obsessed with, you're automatically going to be locked in on a self-concept that is what you want and who you desire to be, making moves that you want to do, creating what you want to create, saying what you want to say, dressing in a way that makes you feel obsessed. This is obviously the way. Okay, so we're playing with that more and more. Between now and the next check-in on May 11th, my next check-in is on 5/11. What would it be like to live into a self-concept that you're obsessed with? AKA, what would it be like to live into a version of you that is so turned up that you feel obsessed every single day, that you get to be this, that you could actually be who you came here to be. You get to be your highest expression that feels like your soul is on fire and bursting at the seams. That was actually what my third Bufo Averis experience was when I pivoted and I went to Belgium. It was electrifying. Like I could feel the electricity in my body. I had never experienced anything like that before. Maybe you're watching this and you're like, yeah, I've experienced that before, but I had never experienced this extreme level of like bliss. It was uncomfortable. It was actually so much bliss that it was painful, right? Writhing. And it's crazy how much life will allow us to get into alignment with who we really are and feel into what is wellness. We don't know what it is. It's unique to each individual, and inside of you, you hold the key to unlocking what wellness is for you. It's different for everybody, but nothing is arbitrary and just unnecessary. All of it is very necessary. If you feel the tug to do something, especially if it's something that you're obsessed with, like that's the next step. That is the path. I have no doubt. I'm also working on a book, which I'm going to be including in the link below. I feel so much more in alignment now than I did since the last check-in I did. And that's what we want. We want more and more in alignment. Remember, it kind of goes like this. Kind of go out of alignment, in alignment, out of alignment, in alignment. And then you kind of get more and more into being exactly who you came here to be. And nothing feels better than that. Okay. We are complete for today. Check the caption. I am going to include a link to my Patreon where I am going to have the unfolding of my book writing process behind the scenes, where if you would like to join behind the scenes, help me create this book, give feedback, and just enjoy the ride of this wellness exploration, full aliveness, what is possible in this mystery, then feel free to join at the link below. You'll also get access to the classes that I have on Patreon. I'm revamping my Patreon as well. while we're going through this obsession process. So have fun, and I will see you in the next one. Let me know in the comments what you're working on, what you got from this, and let's do the 2025 damn thing, okay?